Photography is writing in its own form, one of light. The images we have, and the ones we will remember for life, are really writings of the photographers. They take what people have written about for centuries, and narratives that have changed lives, and capture all of those words into one image of light. Photography literally means to write with light. The word derives from the Greek words phos, meaning light, and grapho, to write. These single images of light have carried the history of the world on their shoulders. Reading events of history can be enjoyable and enthralling at times, but nothing can really compare to seeing a picture of the actual events. They capture everything, whether it be a picture of a twin tower falling down on 9/11, or the capture of a moment of love in the infamous picture of a couple in Times Square. As for film, that has affected us in a similar way, but in so much more volume. Imagine the impact photography has had on the world. Now imagine the combination of these photographs in motion, and how much that can change the perspective of the world. Film in itself is a wheel of the captures of life into one moment. How we perceive things affects our mindset on life itself, and the effect that photography and film has had on our minds has shaped how we view history and continue to create it. The way we perceive and interpret the information of the world can easily be changed, and photography and film have had these interpretations for many years. Let's start at the beginning. The first photograph taken by Nyeshvo Nyepi. This is the first photograph ever taken, which still exists. He called his method heliography, or sunwriting, and this photograph took 8 hours of exposure time. However, photography did not gain popularity until the Industrial Revolution, due to the middle class's interest in portraits. The other ways of capturing a picture, such as painting, were not quick or within the price range of the people, and this created more of a demand to develop the study of photography. From there, photography was popular and used for portraits and landscapes. The invention of film also carries its own unique story. Beforehand, photography served the people's wants of capturing portraits and landscapes. During the Industrial Revolution, film was considered a cheap and simple way to entertain many people. During the Victorian Age, movies were the most popular form of art. This was the first way people could enjoy a form of art that was so close to home. Usually, people traveled miles on end to see amusement parks or public dioramas. Fortunately, much of the behind-the-scenes works of film were already very popular at the time. Lighting, costumes, direction, actors, choreography, and scorers were already on their way before film was produced, due to the art of theater. The first transition from slowly moving pictures to an actual movie like today was in the 19th century, when Etienne Jules Marey and Edward Muybridge created kinematography, which took instantaneous photographs that could be viewed one person at a time in a box. At first, film was usually realistic moving photographs. Later, filmmakers could record actors performing, travelogues, and eventually short movies. Later came the invention of theaters for film, movies with music and dialogue, and invention by invention, films became what it is today, also carrying these developments with photography. What movies have made history? Plenty. Rosetta, a film about a young girl who leaves home and must find work at a young age. The film's portrayal of the character struggle was so realistic and moving that it was able to inspire a new law in Belgium that prohibited employers from paying teenage workers anything less than minimum wage. Considering this is still an issue in societies today, it is easy to see how big of an impact this movie made by actually issuing a law in France. Or the movie 2001, a movie about space travel. Its influence on later films is immeasurable, and most importantly, it captured the public's imagination about the possibilities of space travel, and inspired many of the NASA scientists who would put a man on the moon a year later. With this in mind, it's little surprise when they landed on the moon, the Apollo 11 astronauts described the scenery as being exactly like the movie 2001. Or even Titanic, which has inspired millions of people and taught the story to many generations and more to come. As for photos, they're endless. 9/11, a couple in Times Square, the duck after the oil spill, the Red Sox winning the 2004 championship for the first time in almost 100 years, Hurricane Katrina in New Orleans. We all recognize these pictures. Photos and film have been a part of history for ages, and they will continue to be. How many things have the ability to capture history in moments and then become history in themselves? Photography and film have captured the most important parts of history, and we cannot only see one shot of it, but also moments in film. They are time capsules of events, of history. Once a button has been pushed, the moment is captured, and then it is history. These art forms are history, arts, memories, and so much more. Memories fade, our minds become fuzzy, but pictures and films remain forever. The writing with light that photography and film are is something that not only is a turning point in history, but a turning point that is history in itself.